This week, we saw the announcement for LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. And with it, we have also seen a lot of people have a chance to actually play the game over at the Gamescom event. So this is 50 new details that we have learned about LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. Now, I do want to take a quick moment here and mention that obviously some of these details will contain spoilers, so you have been warned. And of course, in addition to that, if you guys do enjoy today's video, you know the drill. Scroll on down, smash the thumbs up button, consider sharing it with a fellow LEGO Batman fan. And without further ado, let's begin. Off with the confirmation that this game, unlike any other LEGO Batman game, will see Batman as the only main character, with one of 6 other playable Bat family members joining him on his adventure, but the entirety of the story will be played through the perspective of Batman/Bruce Wayne exclusively. Of course, those other playable characters will come along on the adventure as well, but they will not be a driving force for the story. And since we're on the topic of those playable characters, that list consists of Talia al Ghul, Batgirl, Nightwing, Robin, Catwoman, and Jim Gordon, aka Commissioner Gordon. Next, let's talk about some story details, or more specifically, the story order, as we have learned that the story will begin with Bruce Wayne training with the League of Shadows, which will actually see him team up with Talia al Ghul, one of the previously mentioned 7 playable characters. Then he will take off to Gotham, where he will team up with Jim Gordon. That will then be followed by Bruce teaming up with Selina Kyle, as then he will go ahead and age up and team up with Catwoman. He will then come across Robin as part of a segment with the Flying Graysons. Then Robin will go ahead and grow up and progress into Nightwing, so we will see that team up next. And finally, we will then see the team up with Batgirl. And speaking of Batgirl, it has been confirmed that the version of Batgirl that will appear in this game is indeed the daughter of Jim Gordon, aka Barbara Gordon. So, sorry to all you Cassandra Cain fans. We also have confirmation that both Robin and Nightwing will be the versions based on Dick Grayson, because he will actually start out as Robin inside of the campaign for this game, and as I previously mentioned, he will then grow up and progress into the mantle of Nightwing. We also have confirmation that the first Batmobile that we will unlock in the game is going to be the Batmobile from the Robert Pattinson The Batman movie. And speaking of Batmobiles, we do have confirmation that Batmobiles will be unlockable via a couple of different methods in the game. First of which will be just by proceeding through the story as you complete certain missions that will then allow you to have access to certain new Batmobiles. But in addition to that, we also learned that some Batmobiles will be purchasable via LEGO studs, which is great to hear because that confirms one of the uses that LEGO studs will have in the game. Now, staying on the topic of Batmobiles, we also got confirmation that many Batmobiles will be giving out to you by Lucius Fox, which is super duper cool. And this particular version of Lucius is obviously based on his awesome counterpart from the Dark Knight trilogy, played by the legendary Morgan Freeman. But next, let's talk about all the other Batmobiles that have already been confirmed for this game. So in rapid fire fashion, we already talked about the Batman Batmobile, but the official trailer also gave us a look at the Tumbler as a playable Batmobile. Snyder fans, you can rejoice because based on this particular silhouette, it's obvious that the Batflank Batmobile will indeed appear in the game. Arkham fans, you can also be excited because we have confirmation that the Arkham Batmobile will be playable in the game. Batman Animated Series fans, we can all be happy and celebrate that the Batman Animated Series Batmobile will be included in the game. The iconic Batmobile from Batman 89 has also been confirmed to be a playable vehicle in the game by Jonathan Smith, the head of development team on the game itself. And for all of you ancient Batman fans, even the Batman 66 Batmobile has been confirmed as well, with many others being revealed as we get closer to release. In fact, Jonathan Smith himself has gone on to say, and I quote, "We have all the Batmobiles," when talking about the other Batmobiles that are going to be included in the game. So even though that is not an outright confirmation of anything, it could be just marketing jargon, I guess. but I still think that it is definitely a safe assumption that a lot, or probably all, of the iconic Batmobile designs from the movies, the TV shows, and maybe even a few from the comics will indeed appear in the game. But Batmobiles is not going to be our only mode of transportation in the game. We also have confirmation of the Bat-Cycle being included in the game as well. And with that confirmation, we got the reveal of the Bat-Cycle from the previously mentioned Robert Pattinson The Batman movie. We also got confirmation that the Bat-Cycle from The Dark Knight, aka the Bat-Pod, will be playable. And now, since we are on the topic of vehicles, YouTuber AshenFlash discovered that every playable character in the game will have their own unique vehicles. For example, for Jim Gordon, instead of being able to spawn in the previously mentioned Batmobiles and Bat-Cycles, he will instead be able to spawn in the GCPD SWAT vehicle, which, by the way, seems very similar to the design from The Dark Knight. Then he has this really classic looking GCPD patrol police car. And finally, he also has a GCPD motorcycle, which looks super dang neat. And I have to say, honestly, this is an incredible detail, because just think of all the other playable characters in this game, like Catwoman and Nightwing, and what possible vehicles they will have in the game. And when you start to really think about that, things become really exciting just in terms of the amount of depth that this game will offer. And speaking of depth, we have the confirmation that the game will indeed offer at least 100 suits to unlock, which I think is great to hear, because I think it makes the idea of the much smaller roster seem like less of a problem, because essentially we are trading a variety of characters for a variety of costumes and looks. And since we are on the topic of costumes, let's quickly rapid fire some of the confirmed suits for some of our playable characters, starting with the Dark Knight himself, who, according to YouTuber Rugged Eagle, will have a total of 35 costumes included in the game. Some of the confirmed costumes include the Robert Pattinson Batman suit, the Dark Knight costume based on the Christian Bale Batman, the Golden Age Batman Batsuit based on, of course, Detective Comics number 27 from all the way back in 1939, better known as Batman's first appearance. Then we have the Rainbow Batman based on his design from Detective Comics number 241 back in 1957. We also have confirmation of the Michael Keaton Batman 89 suit being included in the game. And if you're like me, you are probably a huge fan of the Batman Brave and the Bold animated series from 2008. Well, good news for all of us, because the Batsuit from that show will be featured as a playable costume in LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. We also had Jonathan Smith confirm that Batman 66, or the Adam West costume, will be included in the game. And finally, in terms of outright confirmed attires for Batman, all of you Batman Forever fans will be happy to know that the Batsuit from Batman Forever will be available as a playable option as well. I also do want to take a quick moment here before we move on to the next detail and mention that obviously, since we know that we are going to be getting the Batfleck Batmobile in this game, as well as the Arkham Batmobile, I feel like it's a pretty safe bet to assume that both of those suits will probably be playable in the game as well, but we haven't gotten an outright confirmation, so because of that, I'm not including them as part of the confirmed details. So next, let's talk about the playable attires that have been confirmed for Jim Gordon, starting with his default look, which is of course based on his attire from the Robert Pattinson The Batman movie. Then he also has his Golden Age attire, which is absolutely ridiculous. This is of course his first appearance in the comics back in 1939 in Detective Comics number 27. And finally, in terms of actual confirmed attires, we also got to see his all-original costume, which is a pretty cool confirmation, because it means that there is a chance that we will get all-original costumes included in the game as well. But this right here is the costume party version of Commissioner Gordon. Now, since we're on the topic of customizing our character, there seems to actually be an incredible amount of customization that will be included in this game outside of just the suit. The most exciting of which is, without a shadow of a doubt, the confirmation that we will have a customizable Batcave. We have yet to actually see what this feature looks like or how in-depth it will actually be, but I cannot wait to actually see what this looks like and how much of a customization will be afforded to us in terms of making my Batcave different than yours versus another person. I think that is going to be a really exciting feature if it's really fleshed out. Next, we got an exciting confirmation that the little maniac known as Batmite will be included in this game. But not only is he included in the game, he will actually have shops throughout Gotham where we as players would be able to shop using the studs that we have collected to buy upgrades, vehicles, as well as other collectibles. And speaking of collectibles, we have a confirmation of a slew of collectibles that will be available in the game outside of the previously mentioned suits and vehicles, starting with the Wayne's Tech chips. Then we have an item called Skill Bricks, which essentially will be used to upgrade the skills of our playable characters. I am very curious to see how in-depth this particular element of the game will be, because if it is a pretty intense skill tree that we'll be able to upgrade, I think that once again, this will lend much more credibility to this game in terms of how much depth it will offer, even on the gameplay side. Then we also got confirmation that there will be a collectible element to the previously mentioned customizable Batcave, where once again, the head of development for the game, Jonathan Smith, during an interview said that we will be able to unlock customization elements for the Batcave and even populate the Batcave. I guess we'll find out what that actually means as we get closer to release. And finally, in terms of collectibles, we have confirmation of the return of the classic and iconic LEGO game collectible known as the Red Power Bricks. So next, let's shift our attention to the bad guys, the rogues, the villains that we will get to battle throughout the game, and we kick things off with Batman's greatest rogue, the Joker, followed by Poison Ivy, who we don't really know too much about in terms of her actual looks or which version they're going with, but I expect her to play a pretty major role in the game, considering that they have mentioned that one of the main locations that we will get to visit and explore is Gotham Botanical Gardens, and who better to run into at the Botanical Gardens than Poison Ivy. We will also get to go toe-to-toe with the legendary Bane, who has been confirmed to be a big fig in this game and will be voiced by Matt Berry. Then we have the Penguin, who has been confirmed to be inspired by actually both Danny DeVito's design of the character and Colin Farrell's design of the character. So a really nice melding of the two there. And then additionally to that, thanks to this really cool poster that has been found from the game, we then also have details about a possible teaser for an alternate costume for the Penguin, as well as a hint of him possibly running for mayor. Then, as part of an IGN interview, we got an outright confirmation that the Condiment King would appear in the game as well. We also got confirmation that Ra's al Ghul or Ra's al Ghul will be a villain that we will indeed need to battle. I expect this one to probably be one of the foes that we fight early on in the game when we're dealing with Bruce training with the League of Shadows, but I guess we'll see as we get closer to release. Then, thanks to some Two-Face henchmen that were spotted along with a character poster that was spotted in the game for Harvey Dent, we have a confirmation of Two-Face being included in this game as well, and it seems like the design will definitely be at least inspired by the Schumacher Batman movies. And speaking of the Schumacher verse, we also got a possible confirmation of Mr. Freeze via two different sources. First and foremost, we actually have some Mr. Freeze henchmen that have been found in the game, and they seem to be inspired by the Schumacher design, which makes me think that we're probably going to end up with a Schumacher-inspired Mr. Freeze in the game. And then additionally to that, we have also seen this little like newspaper marketing material that they put together, and if you look at the actual weather for that particular issue, you'll notice that the weather says that it will be freezing. This next one is actually super exciting because we also got a confirmation that the Riddler would be in this game, but not only that, you will actually have challenges for us to complete scattered around the city itself. So that obviously kind of reminds me a little bit of the Riddler challenges or the Riddler trophies from the Arkham games. So something cool to look forward to. In fact, they actually went ahead and expanded and said that he would not be the only one that will be offering such challenges. So some other villains will offer similar tasks for us to complete. Another detail that I found to be very cool is that Jonathan Smith, once again the head of the development for this game, has also confirmed that Catwoman in the story will actually start out as a rogue, but us as Batman over time will convince her to come over to the good side, and that will actually make her one of the playable characters in the game as well. So that classic sort of character arc for Catwoman will play out in this game as well. Then we also got this little Arkham Asylum advertisement that seems to point to the fact that Jonathan Crane, aka Scarecrow, will be the foe that we can expect to battle when we visit Arkham Asylum. Similarly to the previously mentioned Botanical Gardens, they've also gone out and said that Arkham Asylum would be one of those special locations that we get to visit. And finally, when it comes to the villains front, we also got another marketing material entry where we see an article being written in the local Gotham newspaper, the Gotham Globe, talking about the need to bring back cinema to Gotham. And in the article itself, they quote one actor by the name of Basil Karlo, whom you probably know much better as Clayface. So hopefully that absolute maniac will be in this game as well. We then got this little marketing poster for the Iceberg Lounge, seemingly hinting that it may be an actual location in the game that we'll get to visit. Speaking of visiting things, we also will be able to visit some type of a music store within Gotham itself, and in that music store, or at the front of that music store, there will actually be a playable guitar so Batman could go ahead and rock out. Then we got a confirmation that similarly to how in the Batman 89 movie, Vicky Vale and Alexander Knox are working together, well, in LEGO Batman The Legacy of the Dark Knight, they are teaming up again. This time they will be working for the GBC, or the Gotham Broadcasting Company. Next, we also got to take a look at the in-game character model for Bruce Wayne. Now, although they don't yet have an actual confirmation on whether or not he will be an actual playable character, I expect this one to be a playable character as some sort of an alternate suit for Batman. We also have officially learned who the voice of Batman will be, and it will be Shai Matheson, whom I personally am not very familiar with because I've not really seen or heard of him in any of the other things that he's worked on. But we were told that the main reason why they cast this particular person is because they wanted to cast a Batman that could have a really great range, starting out as the younger, softer Bruce Wayne, and then becoming the more grumpy and old age Bruce Wayne / Batman as well. We also got a really exciting confirmation when it comes to the gadgets, because they have confirmed that gadgets will be upgradable in the game as well. So again, if you're keeping track, this means that there's a lot of depth to this game, whether it be the variety of different unlockables, but then the fact that we also have upgrades for both skills and gadgets. I feel like the gameplay of this game, everything that we've seen so far, is probably just scratching the surface. Next, we have also received confirmation that LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight will support 3 different difficulty modes, which is very unique because for the first time since LEGO Rock Band, a LEGO game actually has difficulty mode. So you'll be able to either play it on the classic mode, which gives you unlimited lives, fewer enemies, and less of the advanced enemy types, aka the ones that come with, let's say, equipped swords or shields or extra armor, or even the big figs. So that is the most classic and easiest version to play. Then you could go ahead and knock that up a notch with the Cape Crusader mode, or of course you could dial it up even more with the Dark Knight mode, where you have a limited amount of lives and you will need to deal with a lot more enemies, and you will need to deal with a lot of the advanced enemy types. And finally, I wanted to end on a fun detail. We also have an official confirmation that James Gunn, the head of the DCU at Warner Brothers, has actually seen and played the game, and we've learned that we are going to be hearing from him sometime soon as well. So now I'm very curious to understand what kind of a role he'll play. Maybe he will end up being either a playable character or an Easter egg. I guess time will tell.
James Gunn is currently overseeing the entire DCU. That includes games. Lego stuff isn't really canon, but has he seen this game? If so, what does he think? And has he made any like outrageous character demands that he wants to see in the game? Or
so yes, he has seen and played the game. You'll see and hear from him in good time.
And I know I said that was the final detail, but there was another bonus piece of information that I had to mention in this video, so I am editing it in at the very last moment here. But we have gotten a new rumor swirling about the fact that the map, as far as the actual scale of the map for LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight, is rumored to be larger than the Arkham Knight one, which is absolutely bonkers. If that actually does turn out to be true, holy moly, this game is going to have so much area for us to explore. And as you've listened throughout the entirety of this video, there's going to be a lot of stuff to do. So there you guys have it. That was a pretty extensive list of stuff for LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Are you guys as excited as I am? I cannot freaking wait for 2026 to arrive so that we all get to play this title. It really does seem to be like the perfect blend between the humor and fun and attention to detail that we get from the Lego games, while also offering us the depth and the visceral, great feeling combat of the Arkham series. And if it's like you put those two things into a blender, hopefully this turned out to be an excellent smoothie. And on that metaphor, of course, guys, like I always say, if you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like. Thank you guys so very much for your kindness and your continued support. I, of course, hope you all have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. Peace out. See y'all later, alligators. Bye-bye, everybody.